Welcome back to CBS This Morning. The body of the late Congressman John Lewis will arrive on Capitol Hill later today, where he will lie in state this week. Yesterday, Lewis made one final journey, just one, across the historic Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. His flag-draped casket was carried on a horse-drawn wagon. CBS This Morning Saturday co-host Michelle Miller has been in Alabama to witness the very emotional send-off. She joins us from the State House in Montgomery. Michelle, I watched all weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It was so tender and so touching and so well-deserved. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Indeed, it was. The 80-year-old civil rights icon was honored, certainly remembered yesterday, and that casket carrying his body arrived here at the Alabama State Capitol here in Montgomery, where the public paid its respects. It was especially poignant because this was the intended end of the 1965 March for Voting Rights, and that peaceful march, as you well know, was ended rather, in what has become known as Bloody Sunday.
Two horses pulled the flag-draped casket of civil rights leader John Lewis through the streets of Selma.
Good trouble!
As a crowd gathered to watch, some chanting his motto, "Good trouble," as he was carried across the Alabama River one last time.
My life is better. Selma is better. This nation and this world are better because of John Robert Lewis.
Congresswoman Terry Sewell led Sunday's prayer service. She called Lewis a friend, a mentor, and a hero.
This is personal for you.
Very personal. To walk in the footsteps of John Lewis with John Lewis, that's a treat of a lifetime. And I got to do it over and over again.
Cheyenne Webb Kreisberg was at the foot of the bridge Sunday. She'd been there before with John Lewis. In 1965, Cheyenne was just 8 years old, the youngest marcher that day. She too was met with tear gas by Alabama state troopers.
What does it mean for you to be here today?
When I look at what happened on the Bloody Sunday March in the 60s, people were beaten by the troopers and the policemen. But today, we will see Congressman Lewis take his last march, and he's being embraced. He's being escorted by them, and he deserves that. And the picture of Bloody Sunday has never left my heart, neither my mind.
People who never met Lewis were also compelled to be here, like the Bulgers, who wanted their little girls to witness history. They said goodbye as state troopers saluted the man their predecessors had attacked.
Boy, about your age.
And then, as 3-year-old Madison Bulger struggled for a view, State Trooper Bubba Bell swept her up onto his shoulders. Validation, perhaps, of John Lewis's long, hard fight.
That was a sign that we're headed in the right direction, and it was a sign to him that his work was not in vain.
Of course, recent events have showed us that we have yet further to go, but the work, the passion, the sacrifice of leaders like Lewis certainly propelled us further ahead to a better place than this was in 1965 and 150 years before that, when Montgomery was the capital of the Confederacy. Gail?
Michelle, how lovely that you had Cheyenne to talk to all these years later. And the scene that got me were the troopers saluting him when years ago he had been beaten by the troopers. I saw the services from his family, who always called him Robert. And one sister told the story when he left home to go see Dr. Martin Luther King, his mother said, "Don't get into trouble, don't get in the way." And they said we all knew that he would do something. Good trouble from a very good man.
Yes, he was.
Thank you, Michelle Miller. Later today, we'll bring you live special coverage right here on CBS and on CBSN on the arrival of the casket carrying Congressman John Lewis in Washington for public viewing at the U.S. Capitol.